This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion. And I know it's been a while, but hey, you know what? We've had a busy weekend. It's been a busy week all told. Obviously, spending a lot of time at the Ball Diamonds the past few days and trying to make sure that I do at least get somewhat of a summer in here before everything gets crazy once again towards the end of this month. That said, rodeo season starts up here on Wednesday down in Galicia, I do believe is what's on my calendar for Wednesday. So we're going to have ourselves a busy week coming up yet again. Still works crazy. Everything's nuts. But all in the meanwhile, the Edmonton Oilers are still doing some background work. And you know what that means? We have to catch up at some point. And I think right now, after a good weekend of watching ball, I didn't even get to play. I didn't even get to sign my name to a roster this weekend. But truth be told, the Pirates still went out there and got B runners up in the Pete Knight Days tournament. So again, another solid showing on a Sunday for the Crossfield Pirates. All right, what do we need to get to? I guess we should get to the housekeeping notes. We are talking about Travis Konecny today. If you're wondering what's going on, I'm yammering on about nothing. That's nothing new, though, if you've been here regularly enough over the past year. If you're new to the channel, though, I do want you to consider hitting that subscribe button. Simply put, I just want you around for the rest of the offseason and then going into next year, because we had a lot of fun this year, albeit the Oilers were done and dusted after 2 rounds. But we had a lot of fun this year, and I'm looking to run it back yet again. So the last video we did from the studio was about Carter Hart, right? It was the huge shock, showing off the bald head and all that. Well, guess what? We're going to go back to the Philadelphia Flyers for right now, and we're going to go knock down a little bit more news on them and potentially what the Edmonton Oilers are looking at, because the Oilers have obviously been looking at solutions and how to figure out the top 6 with or without Kyler Yamamoto, adding guys, subtracting guys, making dollars work, dollars in, dollars out, the Ken Holland phrases, everything you need to know. Don't need to really think about it too much, because you know how this Edmonton Oilers team operates with Ken Holland as general manager. However, we are off the LTIR this year, so now it's time we have a little more flexibility. We can get creative. As far as we are concerned, unless we are told at the 11th hour differently, the salary cap is going up only $1 million. I think it's yet to be fully confirmed from what I've understood, but Gary Bettman himself, I believe last week, said that it's going to be almost 99.9%, $1 million. So let's plan for that. Let me find the Philadelphia Flyers here, because I want to bring up their leading scorers for the 2022-2023 season. And for them, they didn't have that great of a year. I think, just to give me an overview on their season: 29th in goals per game, 23rd in goals against per game, 32nd in power play percentage, and 26th in penalty kill percentage, finishing with 75 points, 31, 38, and 13 this season. So when it comes down to it, though, why are we talking about Travis Konecny on this Edmonton Oilers team potentially is those 31 goals on the wing for the Philadelphia Flyers this past season. He had himself quite the year, it looks like. 31 goals, 30 points, 61 points total, or 31 goals, 30 assists, 61 points in 60 games played. So another point per game scorer that the Edmonton Oilers are looking to add to their right wing. And obviously, too, I think everybody and anybody who has taken a look at potentially trading Kyler Yamamoto for Travis Konecny really likes using Yamamoto to go get this guy, because you think about it, right? He's 5'10", so it's a size improvement on Yamamoto. He's 175 pounds, 26 years old, has already played 6 years in the NHL. Right-hand shot, fits right in there in that top 6, and legitimizes that Nugent-Hopkins Draisaitl second line. I think you could say a guy who over the past several years has had not too bad of a go of it, right? I missed last year by the looks of it, 21-22. I'd have to go digging through for the facts on that. I'm not going to worry too much about that. 34 points in 50 games played in 21-20 or 2021. 19-20, 61 points as well. So he tied a career high this year. A guy who's got 332 points in 488 career games, scoring just about a goal every 4 games throughout his career. That said, though, with 2 11-goal campaigns on the the ledger, and then everything else is 24 plus. So this is a guy who is, over the course of his career, realistically, a model of consistency in middle six numbers. So I'm not going to mind that at all either. A guy who puts up this year a lot of penalty minutes. Obviously, when you're losing, penalty minutes seem to climb a little bit more. But yeah, no, one of those things. I really like these numbers. This is my first time looking at it in front of you right now. But I think the biggest fit right now, as far as we're concerned, is just figuring out a way to offload Kyler Yamamoto in a deal that benefits us. That's, I think, everybody's main goal, and that's why I think, right, as mentioned by so many Oilers insiders over the past 2-3 days, the Oilers are checking in on Travis Konecny, because we've already covered off that with the Carter Hart video that the Flyers might be selling here, right? They're going full rebuild, and I don't know why you'd go full rebuild with Travis Konecny, but you look at it here, 22 or 23, 24, his full salary is cap hit is 550 or 5.5. I can't talk. It's been a long day. I'm baked in the sun, cold, windy. It's terrible. But it's the final. No, actually, it's his second to last contract year this upcoming season. So he's got 2 more years at 5.5. So the Oilers easily stomach the salary next year, especially if you can get some retention. So let's go back to that point. Sorry, I was trying to gather all my facts all at once. Very tight timeline tonight. Trying to do a lot of things. Obviously, got to get laundry done. Haven't been home all weekend. You know, life goes on. But when it comes down to it, again, just to run by it, it's Yamamoto. We're looking for a trade that benefits us. We don't want to give up assets, but if you can package Yamamoto with assets to get a guy like Travis Konecny for around the same price as Yamamoto, you're going to shake your hands and say, hey, good work, Ken. And that's a really big part right there. Is this is a victory kind of trade for the Edmonton Oilers. If you somehow flip Kyler Yamamoto alongside some other prospects to the Philadelphia Flyers, who are in a rebuild looking for prospects, right, for a guy like Travis Konecny. That's where I really see this. And I've seen everything from, hey, go out and get 50% retention, $2.75 million cap hit, trade Yamamoto, full cap hit back the other way, gain less than $300,000 or $400,000 in cap space, which helps sign Bouchard and McLeod. And then you go from there and obviously give up a guy like Lavoie, maybe give up maybe Bourgault, you maybe give up a first-round pick. You do whatever it takes to solidify your top 6 going into the playoffs next year at the start of this year, because you know what? We lost for a lot of reasons, and our top 6 players outside of McDavid and Draisaitl, outside of maybe even Zach Hyman for a stretch of 3-4 games, disappearing cost us heavy, right? Yamamoto showed up at a great time in the LA Kings series, but everything like outside of the 1 or 2 moments that a couple guys like Nugent Hopkins and Yamamoto had, really, right? We needed more. You need everybody dragging into the fight. And it just seemed unless McDavid and Draisaitl were doing it, nobody was doing it. So that's where I think the angle on Konecny is, right? He's a guy who solidifies the top 6. He's a guy who gives you points in the top 6 during the regular season. It's just one of those things, right? You want to beat down on your opponents as much as possible. And if you can do it in the playoffs as well, why not? And Travis Konecny, obviously a guy, too, that's a little bigger than Yamamoto. So it makes it a little harder to play against it for the old school fans watching back home, right? You like size. Hey, 5'10's not huge. But I'll tell you, 5'10, me, compared to 5'6", 5'7 Yamamoto, there is quite a difference out there. So we'll go from there. But it's really tough now for the Edmonton Oilers in terms of this, because yes, you have to flip that, you have to give up some prospects, you have to give up a draft pick, whatever you have to do to make that happen, and you don't really gain anything cap-wise. Yes, you solve one problem, but you don't solve defense. You don't figure out a new solution for goaltending for those people who want a new solution in goaltending. So there's a whole ton of things here that really nothing changes. And this is why I think maybe the appetite from Oilers fans isn't as big as it once was, because I remember I posted on the community tab here, I did a video 4+ years ago about Travis Konecny to the Edmonton Oilers and why I liked him and why I wanted him and whatever, and I was just spitballing ideas whenever the heck. And you know what, honestly now I really don't see see an appetite from Oilers fans just absolutely foaming at the mouth to get Travis Konecny on this team in place of Kailer Yamamoto. And obviously, it comes down to what it costs, how it fits, and what it realistically changes for the Oilers. Yes, it makes you more potent offensively. We already have the best power play. We're already the top goal-scoring team. It doesn't matter, right? We need to defend. We need to get saves. And that's what I think the conversation, as I said in the Carter Hart video, is going to be dominating the summer. And when it comes down to it, if you can maybe find $400,000 in a cap space trade for Yamamoto and Konecny and somehow, some way wheel and deal that like you did with the Puljujärvi situation into a guy like Mattias Ekholm, well, okay, maybe then we start having a conversation. But at current, Travis Konecny really doesn't change anything for the Oilers unless he shows up in the playoffs next year after being acquired. That's really the only thing that changes. So as it currently stands, right, it's nice to see that Ken Holland continues to do work, even when you and I are out there on the diamonds or at the campsite or at the lake or whatever, doing our thing this summer. Well, you know what? It's nice to see Ken Holland's working the phones, has expressed interest, because that's the biggest story of the summer so far, in my mind, is that the Philadelphia Flyers signaled, hey, we're open for business, let's talk. And right there, now you've got Carter Hart. Everybody passed on that pretty quick. Obviously, Oilers Nation, I think, was pretty quick to dismiss any real shot the Oilers had. And then, two, Carter Hart was just kind of tire kicking anyway. Travis Konecny, though, right? All of a sudden, big, juicy target. And yeah, there's talk, but I don't think there's anyone just screaming at the top of their lungs to get him. And then Alex DeBrincat was here and gone pretty much as fast as the news came out that, it's really nothing. So that's where we're at today, friends. Just wanted to express a little bit on that. Really don't think there's much to it at this point, but obviously anything can happen. And once the Oilers have to get desperate at the trade, or not at the trade, when it comes down to making a trade at the draft, well, obviously that would be the name I'm looking at, is Travis Konecny right now. That's probably the hottest name we have seen in discussions. Other than that, we've obviously too seen some names pop up for free agent targets. Connor Brown, Sam Gandhi is back in the conversation. We'll discuss all that tomorrow night as we get set up for a night at home after a long, long weekend of all. You see it. I'm beat. And I don't think you can see it as well on the camera. Yeah, no, the light really fuzzes out how good of a tan I got for me. I don't tan very well at all, because obviously I've been keeping the head in this shade with the hood up all day. And two, it's just kind of been overcast today, but I think I got some good color on my legs and stuff over the past 48 hours. So, hey, here's to doing summer the right way, right? Anyway, I'm up on out of here. I'm going for dinner. You guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk tomorrow.